When you don't own any media outlets, you don't get to author your own narratives. For Black America, our stories are created by them. Our future is determined and regulated, and now they have even began to rewrite our history. In the past 3 years, several historical film projects have been produced by Hollywood that appear to highlight the achievements of some of our finest entrepreneurs, entertainers, and historical heroes. On the surface, these attempts seem applaudable. But if you look deeper, there's always a catch to any accolades or awards bestowed. What the people that run Hollywood do is trick you by honoring our Black heroes' end results, so much that you don't even notice how the pathway to their achievement is littered with negative imagery, tarnished visuals, and destructive political propaganda. The people that run Hollywood love to push two agendas that destroy our community. The first one is that Black men and Black women can't work together, nor be supportive or faithful in a marriage or relationship. No matter what time period these films take place, they expect you to believe that the government, law enforcement, and a society of white supremacy are all small obstacles against our Black hero. But it's our Black hero's Black spouse that poses the biggest threat to our hero's triumph. The second agenda for Black movies is that the people that control Hollywood want to switch the roles between Black men and Black women. They want our beautiful Black women to be the hunters and the protectors of our communities, villages, and homes, in addition to being the breadwinners, while the Black men are the emotional, feminine ones that refuses to lead. Harriet in 2019, Madam C.J. Walker in 2020, and Respect about Aretha Franklin in 2021 are all clear examples of these Hollywood themes. In the film Harriet, which takes place in 1850, we see a very calm and mild-mannered white slave owner. This white man never laid a finger on any of his slaves. The filmmakers refused to show any of the pain and suffering Black slaves were forced to endure during this time period. For any young Black kid watching this film for historical references, they learn slavery wasn't really that bad. Or worse, Africans simply look like employees. Can you imagine a Hollywood film about the Holocaust that refused to show Hitler's treatment of the Jewish people? People really have some nerve. The new theme Hollywood is pushing in its new agenda is that all of our misfortune, torture, and misery throughout our history is all our fault. We have seen many forms of historical manipulation. The slave beatings should be a given. In fact, the worst men in this Harriet film were the Black men. John Tubman, Harriet's husband, who she hated because he didn't want to run, and when he thought she was dead, he chose another wife. William Steele, the famous abolitionist who was a conductor on the Underground Railroad and questioned her sense of urgency to free so many slaves in so little time. And the great Frederick Douglass, who admonished her so much to the point she felt the need to scold him. They even included a fictional big Black bounty hunter to provide cover so the handsome, modelish white slave owner didn't look vilified while he chased and hunted down Harriet. And when they finally caught her, the white savior slave owner stopped the big Black bad bounty hunter from taking Harriet's life. These are the dangerous historical manipulations for our kids, where most of the white people in this movie were either good or their bad was downplayed by Black people being 10 times worse. Madam C.J. Walker, same theme, same agenda. She has $1 million hair care idea for Black women, and way back in the 1900s, the only people stopping her were, of course, the Blacks. Her first husband was a drunk and beat her. Her second husband was a cheater and, of course, a backstabber. Her Black business partners hustled and swindled her. The storytellers even found a way to smut one of our heroes, who happens to be the first black person on a U.S. stamp, Booker T. Washington. The filmmakers took the liberty of making him engage in some very sexist rant against Madam C.J. Walker and black women in general. Mind you, there is absolutely no documentation of this conversation or exchange. Throughout the film, there wasn't one black man she could trust, but she set up a meeting with some white investors, and they, of course, loved her. And they were just about to pour in all this money until her husband ruined it. Later, she went to meet a committee of all white men for distribution of her hair care product into their stores, and without batting an eye, once again, the white men quickly and kindly embraced her without any resistance, making her a millionaire. Aretha Franklin's Respect, the story of a black icon. On her journey to the top, according to this movie, her biggest obstacles were black. The writers made sure to show Aretha's black father calling her the N-word and beating her in the presence of the white label head, who, by the way, didn't appreciate this big black man beating on this precious little black lady. Also, the label exec was very positive and supportive of her career and gave her everything she asked for, with, again, no resistance. The writers made sure to show her first husband was jealous and beating her senseless, in addition to ruining her career. Then she meets another flawless white record exec, who again was very supportive and gives her exactly what she wants. He even drives her down to Alabama. Mind you, this is the year 1967, and they meet a group of non-racist white men who quickly and kindly embrace her and save her career with no resistance. Anybody that tells you there's no agenda is a bold-faced lie. We know these might be parts of Aretha's history, but it's hard to fathom highlighting every terrible black man in her life while skipping over and ignoring the racist whites she had to encounter during that time period. Any chance Hollywood gets, they always put black men and black women against each other. We will always be each other's biggest opponents. Black Panther was produced because Hollywood was running out of non-risky original ideas. The superhero franchises are huge tentpole moneymakers. With having exhausted all the good white superhero ideas, it was time they tried their hand at a black one. With a lower budget, a well-underpaid stellar black cast, they expected an above-average return. But what they received was the biggest February opening of all time, the highest grossing Monday of all time, the highest grossing African-American directed movie of all time, and the highest grossing superhero movie of all time. You would think the people that run Hollywood would be overjoyed, but them making all the money came with a price. For the first time in history, Africa was sure enough represented. In the past, when Hollywood showed Africa, it was either to scare black folks by showing dirty, uncivilized, ghetto, poverty-stricken, HIV-having Africans riding around in Jeeps, savagely killing each other, or to embarrass us by showing them archaic characters, uneducated, unintelligent imbeciles to be mocked and made fun of. But what Panther did was show the beauty of Africa. It was colorful, it was clean, it was picturesque, it was also fly, plush with resources, futuristic with top-of-the-line technology. Black people were hip, cool, clever, stylish, and fashionable, with a whole lot of swagger. This was the first time we envisioned a different kind of Africa. Black people were proud of this make-believe place called Wakanda. We came out to premieres unified, dressed in African garb, proud of who we are and where we came from. Suddenly, we wanted to be connected to Africa. The thought of that holds the biggest threat to America, whose number one goal has been to eliminate any type of kinship black people have with Africa. I'm sure the people that run Hollywood went back and had several meetings of how they could redirect said outcome and forge a different conclusion. The next film Hollywood gave us from Africa once again perpetuated the same war they had been fabricating between black men and black women. And as before, Africa was savage and brutal again. The Woman King is a film about the slave trade, but you would never know that because its concentration was on black men and black women completely annihilating each other. Black hate was alive and well. What a perfect time to produce a historical film where black women are once again the leaders and protectors, and black men are the antithesis to all that. All in all, the most evil people in this film were not the slave traders. They were purposely made to look harmless so that they could represent just a system that benefited from black hate. And the message remained, all the torture, pain, and agony we encountered was our fault. The most evil people in this film were black. The Woman King was a nice segue into Wakanda Forever, the latest Black Panther film, but gone was the beauty and scenic shots of Africa. And after the death of our beloved Chadwick Boseman, Hollywood figured this was a great time to stick with the agenda of erasing black men as the leaders and continue the transition of role reversals. And just like the Woman King, black women became the fighters and protectors of Wakanda, even to the point they made all the black women shave their heads to visually transform themselves into alphas. Let me ask you, what is it about black love that makes people so fearful? Every other race in this country can love each other without interference. But still, in 2023, every single day, this society plots and plans to put black men and black women against each other. So as a people, we have got to begin to guard our hearts, our minds, and most importantly, our lineage from this social engineering. What we need is a black love-evolution, love supreme.